All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Hollywood Uncensored podcast. Now, I know if you guys are watching this visually on YouTube, it's kind of a different setup. Your boy's laptop is completely RIP'd. It's a different problem for a different day because here today, your boy Hollywood Holguin, once again, joined by the good brother Rossi Montgomery. Homie, how are you doing?
Well, Rossi got hurt. to say it real quick. Other than that, I'm doing well. Other than actually being hurt, my hand is fucked up.
Do you want to tell that story real quickly? I know you were telling me right now before we start recording.
No. Well, yeah, I'll just tell it. Somehow I slept through smashing my hand on my nightstand. I don't think I was an aggressive. I don't think it was like in a mad way. Maybe it was. Maybe I had one hell of a dream. Maybe it was like a zombie apocalypse dream, and I was fighting the zombies away.
Were you going full Ash trying to get the whole?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, and gun thing.
I don't know. But so anyway, my hand is very bruised, very sore, not nearly as swollen as it looked. It looked pretty bad, but it just looked like I envisioned, and this is like a deep cut for anybody that watched Metalocalypse. I envisioned my hands looked like Squizgar's when he ate the barbecue sauce and was allergic to it, and they just swelled up like balloons. It looked like that. It was just shit.
Dude, you were already fighting even before Mortal Kombat started. Like,
I know, dude. I was training, but I didn't have the dragon marking apparently, because I guess that's how they do it now. And with that being said, nice transition into the newest we finally got
version.
To see it.
Yeah, the newest version of Mortal Kombat. Obviously, look, man, I grew up watching the 95 Mortal Kombat. I know you did as well. All the games, we pretty much played them. And there's a lot of hype going into this new 2021 version of Mortal Kombat, especially because the trailers, all of them looked fucking amazing. Like, the gore looked amazing. The fatality looked amazing. It looked like they were giving us a real fighting style, gory Mortal Kombat that a lot of us had been asking for. As well, we'd like the 95 version, but I mean, it was missing a lot of those scenes that they did in this one. Movie comes out. I watched it Friday night. First thoughts. Let's start with this. I want to get this right out of the way. We did this for Kong Godzilla. On the count of three, I want me and you to say which movie we liked more, 95 or 2021. All right, 3, 2, 1, 95.
21, actually.
Really? I dig that. I dig that there's a difference there.
I'm going bold, and I think it's the obvious to say, like, the original. And nothing. Of course, we can knock so much about the originals, but knocking those parts are like the best parts, and which kind of ties in well. In my later years now, as we're old men, back in the day, and not even back in the day, but there was a time when I would see comic book movies, video game adaptations, whatever, and I would want it to be pretty much the same thing. Yeah. If it's a comic book, I want it to be right off the pages that, and I wanted it to be like kind of, I guess I would say, cheesy, but more serious too. I didn't want it to be like a joke. So when it was more jokey, I was like, what the hell? Now as an adult, I want like over the top gore, especially for something out of Mortal Kombat. And I kind of did want the cheesiness of, it was a video game about ninjas killing each other. So let's have some fun with it. Yeah. So the biggest thing that I really dug about this new one was that they really did that. There was a couple subtle like jokes in there, and as like video game fans and stuff, you would get it, but it took away from like the seriousness of like, oh shit, this ninja with ice powers is coming to kill all these people, but also gave it its own like unique story, which again, going right off the bat, very different from the video games. Sub-Zero is the evil one, and Scorpion's all good. Like, there's nothing. They never really said Scorpion was a bad guy at all in this. Even they changed the whole kind of backstory of how he went to hell and got his powers and this and that. And I don't know if they ever really went far into it. I guess they probably would have at some point. But I just remember the whole thing of, now we're really digging, of Quan Chi basically being the one like, hey, if you want revenge on Sub-Zero, I'll do this. You got to make a deal and all that. I think that was the original backstory. I could be wrong. But
I remember one that I really loved was the animated Scorpion's Revenge, which was phenomenal and just well done. And I thought they should have just done that with this one mostly. I mean, I'll get into my review, but like you said, there was that sense that like there could have been more Scorpion, more so than just saving it for that third act finale fight, which I'm just like, yeah, you kind of had him the first 7 minutes, and then you kind of hinted towards the movie here and here with little like flash scenes of him, but never really touched on it. And then all of a sudden he's there, and you're kind of like, I mean, I get it, but like I kind of think that could have been a little bit fleshed out more, which would have made the entire story made more sense in a way.
Yeah, I definitely like at that point too, with the whole thing of him being an ancestor. I thought they were just gonna go really dumb. Like, I guess they couldn't have, because they said the years, and obviously it was hundreds of years later. But I thought they were just gonna be real dumb. Like, you're his like great grandchild, something just like really like. Which I guess essentially they still could have, but he's just an ancient ancestor. But even that, and that whole character didn't nearly annoy me as much as I thought he would. But it was definitely not in a bad way. I still kind of feel unnecessary. For this story, it made sense. For this story, and it was an original. Hold on, don't fucking jump the table yet.
I've been saving this shit since Friday, bro. Way to go off on that one specific character. Yeah,
I don't hold back. We're uncensored for a goddamn reason. But so for this own version, obviously, in a lot of ways, it made sense 100% to have this new character, this and that. If they would have done any different, other than just being like, oh, you guys all have this mysterious marking for no fucking apparent reason, but it means this dude Scorpion died hundreds of years ago, and now you got to fight for his spirit. Which essentially that was kind of the movie. They're just like, everybody has this marking, and now they're seeing Scorpion, but this guy's seeing him more because he was his great granddaughter, or not daughter, sorry, great fucking. He might as well been. So he kind of was a bitch throughout like the first 2 acts, especially even early on when he loses his like fight. I'm like, the little girl's yelling at you, man. Don't let her down. And then he did. So,
look, here's the thing, man. I thought the movie, when it comes to what we want as fans, delivered. I'm not going into a Mortal Kombat movie expecting a Martin Scorsese story. I'm not expecting an Oscar-winning script or anything like that.
Not to cut you off or anything, but I feel like that's the biggest thing, because I only just saw it today, and this podcast will probably come out maybe Monday morning, afternoon. So I only just saw it Sunday, today, this afternoon. But I saw many reviews. And you know me, I'm not one to ever be like, oh, that review said it was bad, I'm never going to watch it. I'll still watch something, and especially, I knew I was going to watch fucking Mortal Kombat. But some of the reviews made me laugh, because a lot of them poked at, like, saying, oh, the story was this and that. Like, there's a lot of people talking about the story. Who the fuck went to a Mortal Kombat movie thinking the story was going to be good? Like,
exactly.
Who goes to a video game version or adaptation of a film and really thinks, oh, the story is what's going to make this shit?
Yeah, unless it says directed or written by or produced by, again, Scorsese, Tarantino. I can go down the list of great directors. If it's not one of them, then I'm not looking for a grace. I'm not going in to go watch Sonic thinking that this is going to be one of the greatest scripts of all time. Like, I'm going to watch Sonic because I played the game, I enjoyed the game, and if the little blue fucker runs around like a ball, then I'm going to be happy. I'm content. Like, that's good enough for me to be happy enough to say, like, I enjoyed certain aspects. Now, like, story-wise, I do understand the complaints of pacing. I do feel like they do a whole lot of shit but then there's a lot to be desired because, like, look, here's the other thing. As great as they did with the fatalities and the characterizations and the way they portrayed the characters, like they did a fantastic job. The costume designs, the finishers, all those things were fantastically done. But like at the same time, was I selfishly hoping to see a tournament? Yeah, I really did need a tournament to kind of understand more of the aspects where we get like they get there to Raiden's temple, and spoilers by the way, but it's already on HBO Max. They get to Raiden's temple, and he's kind of like, well, there's already been 9 other fights, and if we lose one more, Earth Realms is screwed. And it's like, well,
like, who are the other fighters?
Yeah, let me see the build up to that. All you showed me was Scorpion dying, and then it was like, boom, now we're at this MMA cage, which reminded me a lot of how they introduced Wolverine in the first X-Men movie. It felt a lot like that, where they're like, it's in the cage, and there's all these people around them, and it's like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, it's like the birthmark thing. I wanted to see the tournament. I wanted to see at least that take place or be somehow shoehorned in some aspect. They kind of try to do that after their like training is interrupted and homeboy betrays them, and you know all that shit happens. They have like all those different like battle scenes, so they kind of try to give you a cheap version of it, but at the same time, like Mortal Kombat essentially is still built on the tournament itself. And I know the guy who played Sub-Zero said that he signed on for 4 movies.
Yeah,
and maybe we get it eventually, but I kind of felt like this felt more to me almost like a prequel to the tournament of Mortal Kombat than actually Mortal Kombat, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I think if they would have even addressed it more like that, it would have worked. If that's how they kind of go from here. I don't know about 4 sequels. I for sure see them getting 1 more, and I would like that. I enjoyed this one enough to say I would absolutely see a sequel. After that, who the fuck knows? I mean, maybe it could work, or it might be dog shit from there. I have no idea. If it stays with HBO Max, at least, I feel like there's a good chance it'll be done well. Knock on wood, say that all the same directors, everybody that was included in this first one, if they keep on, you know, they keep that entire team on, I would think they would do a well job doing another one. The whole thing about the fucking tattoo or marking that I feel like just really was stupid was they could have easily just had I always want to call him Cole Wright, and there's a shout out to our wrestling fans listening along. But Cole, he could have been the only one with it, and it still would have been like, oh, whatever. That's the marking of the fucking ancestors. Oh my God, we were chosen. They didn't need to have everybody else be like, oh, that's why we all need to find you. They could have just had like Jackson Sonya be like, we have this information and somehow it traced back to you, fucker. And now Sub-Zero's coming to fucking kill us all. And I would have been like, boom, done.
And my whole time though, it's like they have that birthmark, whatever it is. And it's like, but what's the reason? Like I thought that was going to get them into the tournament, not get them to Raiden's temple where they're like, we're going to train for 40 minutes until they get tired of us training.
It's a montage.
And it's, dude, here's the one thing about the 90s, man, the shitty as those movies used to be. The 90s got the montages right because they were fun and they had badass music attached to them. And they were like 5 minutes long and you got to the point. Nowadays, they flesh them out to like the point where you're like, okay, I get it, man. Let's get to some fighting, actual fighting, where there's actually like stuff on the line. I wish they would have fleshed out a little bit more of the tournament style, especially the characters that they spoiler killed off. I feel like that would have been cool to see them.
We're gonna have this. This is a spoiler. We will talk about it, obviously. We'll post spoiler, guys. Sorry if you didn't know that, but especially for certain movies, like you said,
if it's on HBO Max, I'm like, it's available. You know, it's been 4 days. You had a chance to watch it. Yeah.
But yeah, fatalities alone and killing the certain people. I don't even know like where to fucking start. I'll start like backwards. The best fatality that people on like reviews have said was Kung Lao.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Probably, you know.
Yeah.
I'm shocked to shit that they had that character even in it, not Kung Lao, Datara or whatever.
Yeah.
I barely remember her. Like I do enough. I remember her enough to be like, oh yeah, that like weird fucking vampire thing with tits. And but so it was just weird to have that character. But maybe that's
well, it
why
feels like they
worked,
shoehorned her in there. Yeah, they shoehorned her in
Yeah.
there just to be like, let's give him that fatality before,
Even
spoiler,
though,
before they take his soul and he's done.
yeah, no, and like that's the funnier thing too. Like again, sorry fans, like it's nothing personal. I always feel like for some reason I didn't like Kung Lao more than I didn't like Liu Kang, and I didn't give a fuck about
Really?
Liu Kang growing up. Yeah.
Really? Damn.
Oh
Right.
yeah, dude. No, yeah. This is a shout
Oh,
out
you
to.
mean like full character, like on all the.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
like
oh,
not
okay,
just
okay,
like not like actor.
okay.
No, the actor in the '95 one should have played Liu Kang in this one.
And I'm going to go back to that real quick. I'm going to let you finish your point. I still think Liu Kang should have been the main guy, just because I'm like, I'd rather him or again or Scorpion. It's like either or, just pick one.
Well, again, yeah. Once, sorry, Cole, but once again, Liu Kang could have been that entire role, and you could have even still done something stupid where he didn't know he was Liu Kang yet. Like he was like kind of like how this one said, I was adopted into this fucking family and blah 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 blah. They didn't need all that shit. They could have just been like, I was a little fucker, and then they found me, and now I'm the fucking king. You know, like, yeah, because again, once again, he was never my favorite character, but always having him as like your thought to always be champion made sense. It worked. I didn't care. You know what I mean? I was like any and all other characters probably before him, but it was like fine. You know what I mean? But other than that, yeah, easily they could have made Scorpion. They could have had Scorpion come back to like the living realm way sooner. And even at the big, like, because I know people are going to be like, well, you couldn't have had Scorpion do anything semi-evil because then he wouldn't have been like the main hero. They kind of could have. They could have had him coming back to, they could have had him coming back to life and basically being like the Punisher and just killing like evil people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then in the end, finally be like, I have killed Sub-Zero. Now I won't kill anybody. I'm going back to hell, I guess. You know what I mean? Because like they didn't even really say where he went. They're like, you freed me.
He just dips out. He's like, keep my bloodline alive, and then he just dips out. You're just like,
keep fucking. And
and you know, and that's the thing. Like when it comes to the movie, again, action stuff, loved it. But the Cole storyline to me, if you take that out of the movie, kind of like what we said, Godzilla and Kong, you take the human element out of the monster movie, I probably like the movie more. When it comes to this Mortal Kombat, you take Cole out of this movie, I probably dig this movie a lot more than I wish I could have. It just, they shoehorned him in there, and I hate this whole Hollywood aspect where they try to give you the relatable cookie cut character where you're like, oh, he has a family. Yeah, it's like he's an MMA fighter with the family. How am I gonna relate to this kid? But with the birthmark of the dragon. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, man, I've seen that before all the time. But that's like Hollywood's main thing. Like they always got to shoehorn this like character in there that makes no sense. But they're like, this is the person that the audience is gonna vibe to and like go towards to and
everyday man.
That's what it was. It essentially was that. But he was just, no offense to the actor, man, I've never seen a more boring acting performance in my life. This dude brought nothing to the table, and that probably wasn't his fault. That could have been script writing. That could have been directorial. Maybe. I'm trying to be nice, but like he brought nothing to the table, man. He had probably one of the worst suits I've ever seen any Mortal Kombat character ever wear. Even the 95 costumes, as cheap as those looked back then.
What the fuck was his power?
He was a punching bag. So every time he got punched, he would gain more power. And he would have like those Nightwing type sticks that were like attached to like his forearms. And he would just like shank dudes. It was awful.
I didn't even put that together. That was what I saw him getting the shit kicked out of him. I thought he was just like, I guess he was absorbing it essentially.
They want you to remember that because that trainer dude in the beginning, when he's telling him like you kind of suck at this, you should probably like quit, calls him a punching bag. And they want you to remember that one line of him saying punching bag. So when he gets his power and Goru's kicking his ass and he's just like, oh fuck, I'm gaining the power back to like kick your ass, which I'm just like, did you just waste one of like, wasn't he a Mortal Kombat champion? The one that he beats in the fucking
Goro?
Yeah, well, didn't he win at one point?
Goro was the champion?
Yeah, did he win probably. Yeah, and I'm like, you just wasted them in a barn. It's
and
like,
that was way worse than having Johnny Cage kick him off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, I'd much rather that, just because of Johnny Cage's lines and those scenes. Yeah, really, it's just brought everything in there. The low blow from the splits, it's like that. That's dope. This one,
$500 glasses, asshole.
greatest lines and one of the greatest movie lines all. Instead, this time it's like Goro's getting his ass kicked in the barn. The wife's getting involved, hitting him with an axe in the truck, and like this dude needs help from everybody. And it's like, God damn, like are you again? And at the whole time, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. The fighting scenes are awesome, except that the barn was probably the worst fighting montage they had in the entire movie. Everything else was fine. But it was one of those moments where I'm like, you just could have had a tournament and it would have been fine. It would have just pieced everything better.
Well,
and
once again,
I don't know why
who the fuck did Liu Kang fight in that whole thing when everybody went to fight one person?
Damn.
Oh, he fought Cabal.
Yeah, he looked amazing, for a movie, dude.
Look cool.
Looked really good.
Once again, though, they should have, if they were going to, which I had a feeling, once again, do not go to go to a Mortal Kombat movie thinking that everybody's gonna live. It's a fucking video game where everybody dies.
Dumb.
Like,
yeah.
So I had a good feeling, obviously, other than heroes out of it, that all the villains were gonna die. Obviously, some of them you already know can come back easily.
Yeah.
No spoiler, really. Kano's one of them, and
absolutely.
he was funny enough, but I kind of didn't like how, obviously, towards the end, spoiler again, guys, when he finally reveals that he's just is a bad guy, I just didn't like how it kind of took that long, because they kind of, in a way, were almost hinting towards like, oh, maybe in the end, when he has that decision, he will be good. And I would have been like,
it should have happened. It should have happened in that dinner scene when he discovers what he can do. Yeah. He should have just went after all of them, and then just took off from there and met up with the bad guys and just been like, oh, okay, there you go. This one, it was like Homeboy shows up, antagonizes them, and he's like, okay, I'll take that. And it's just like, I like what? Like, he's like, I'll go with you guys. Like, oh, you're saying rewards? It's like, oh man, which he was good, funny wise. Like, he brought the element of comedy, which are just like, that's the character in essence, in all the portrayals we've seen. That one, like, again, the characters other than Cole, even Sonya, it was like, yeah, it's
this
like,
episode's gonna be called "Fuck You, Cole," because
it wasn't needed, man. And at the same time, there's a lot of people, I saw a lot of reviews where they don't even like, I don't think they know that fact that like they think like Scorpion is like his father, because that's the way they kind of like intentionally kind of lead you into thinking he is. And then they double team fucking Sub-Zero, and I know a lot of like hardcore Mortal Kombat fans were like, that's not Mortal Kombat, you're not supposed to go 2-on-1. It's supposed to be the bad guys that go 2-on-1. You're supposed to go against it. It's like, you guys are double teaming this dude. Probably would have whipped both of your asses, which I'm like, that's kind of probably facts. Like, it might have been a little bit of facts, because he was holding his own against two of you guys. One guy's a Super Saiyan and shit.
They fucked up. You know what they should have done? They should have saved that for the next one. Had them fucking team up, and this time it's fucking Noob and fucking, I guess, Smoke, or maybe just other Sub-Zero. I don't fucking know.
Did you hear that theory though, that they think Sub's gonna turn into him?
I mean, why wouldn't he? Especially how Shane fucking takes him away, and he turns into Black Smoke already.
But Shang and Raiden, by the way, they're cool actors. They could have been much. They're always like, late to the party.
This is not in any evil or like rude way, but they could have been played by any and all other actors. Probably wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, like their boy from the 95 one, man. He was funny always.
Honestly, they should have brought back both original actors, and I would have been like, that Raiden could have. Other than like, obviously, like, I guess Sonya, that Raiden actor could have been the only white actor in the entire film, and I would have been like, yeah, that's fine. He makes me laugh.
And that's the other thing. It's like Raiden's there, and he just shows up late for fucking everything, and I'm like, so what's the point? Like, is he just like there?
Again, at the beginning with Raiden, other than like him saving the kid and whatnot, and even that was lazy. But so when Raiden first meets all the guys, and he just shits all over them, like, you suck, you fucking blood, like, and then,
you don't even have the birthmark.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, like. And you're kind of right off the bat like, oh, well, Raiden's a dick. Yeah. But it's because, again, they didn't really, other than saying, we've won 9, what the fuck?
That's the thing, dude. That's what pisses me off the most, other than Cole. It's just one of those things where it's like, don't tell me, show me. They're Mortal Kombat. I don't care how long this movie is. I don't know why the cutoff was like an hour 50. I think that's the one thing about this movie too. Very entertaining. I will say that there's never a moment in this movie where you feel like bored or overwhelmed. You're just it's a flow that just keeps going 1,000 miles per hour from the first 7 minutes all the way through. It completely goes. Yeah, there's some missteps here and there, but from an entertainment factor,
cool.
Well, yeah. Other than that, dude, and even then he had moments where I'm like, at least he's fighting, but at the same time, I'm like, fucking like his costume just looks so cheap. It's like Warner Brothers.
When he first got his costume, it just looks like fucking Aquaman armor.
It did.
I think it would have been funnier if they just twisted us all in the movie. And when he gets it, he's fighting Goro, and Goro still just grabs his arms, just rips him apart. I would have been like, dope. Like,
that's another nitpick thing too, which I'm not trying to completely shit on this movie, but it's like this is the studio that brought a giant lizard and a monkey to fight each other. They brought in fucking Zack Snyder's movie, which cost a shit ton to remake. They just had Wonder Woman running around, and all those look pretty good, like CGI wise and costume design wise. Like there's moments in Zack Snyder where you're just like, holy shit, the costumes don't look as bad as they probably should have. Like with Martian Manhunter, should look way worse than he did. He didn't look amazing, but it looked decent enough. This one, dude, it's like Goro looked like shit. I can't believe the 95 one in that human type of costume.
Robot.
Yeah, it looked fucking better than the one in the CGI version. And then again, the costumes for Cole was just like shit. It's like, and the Sub-Zero, dude, I needed a little bit more blue on that. A little bit more.
Yeah.
The whole time he just looked like he was in black.
He already looked like he was like dressed up as Noob, I guess.
Yeah, he really did.
And also, like, just me nitpicky, when they do eventually turn him into him, they better not just name him Noob. Call him fucking Noob Saibot, whatever.
They better, yeah.
Like, I don't even know what the fuck that name ever meant. I'm sure they did a backstory on it, but just fucking call him it. And
I think we can get to the little cliffhanger that they leave you with, which I'm just like, okay,
before we even get to that,
okay,
just like real quick, what was your favorite kind of like either Easter egg or nod to like the video games like that you caught?
I mean, that's the thing, man. I probably should have watched it a second time just to get to that point, to like really like nitpick.
Like, I'll tell you a couple, like, just so
really?
You know, if you caught it. Yeah.
I was just so like, I don't know, man. There's parts where I was like, oh shit, and there's also parts where I was kind of like getting frustrated with the movie itself.
Yeah.
So I didn't really pick up. Again, it's just probably when Scorpio shows up and he does the come over here and the music starts and the music starts playing and I'm like, oh shit, that was probably the one moment where I marked out the most, because it was like, if there's anything as close to 95 when it comes to just being Mortal Kombat, not just even the 95 movie, just Mortal Kombat in itself, what that whole franchise is about, was that scene right there. Like that was perfect. Like they killed that moment. Probably could have just kept it one-on-one, but whatever. Right. Just had to add that. That shit in. But no, please let me know what Easter eggs and other little shit that we see, because I missed mostly all that shit probably.
I guess like not the main one. I saw a lot of people talk about, again, nothing against the character, I just never gave a shit. Did you see the when they're scanning through or looking through all like transcripts and history, did you see the picture of Nightwolf?
I did not.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Kind of cool. I believe it was where Sonya's showing him all the stuff, like all the different things, and saying like, oh, this is where the marking comes from and blah, 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 which still kind of doesn't make sense completely. So they're saying like Nightwolf is their god and Raiden's just like another god. I mean, I guess he's one of them. But
yeah, because they mentioned gods, don't they? I remember, I think it was one of them mentioned like they're the gods that fought before, some shit like that, and they're coming through like the Earth's realm or whatever the case may be. So I think that was, I didn't see that, but it would make sense. Which that probably leads to the second one.
Yeah, that one was cool. I think my like haha moment or like cheesy, I guess, was when they're doing the practice stuff and Liu Kane's fighting Kano. And he keeps fucking leg sweeping him.
Oh, the leg sweep. Yeah. I mean, we all did it, man.
Like, that shit was pretty funny. I think the other one that, if they weren't alluding to it, I got it. When the girl both times, like his daughter, I guess, tells him to do the uppercut. That's something that as fans, we all had to do at some point. Just the ducking uppercut.
Yeah.
That was one. I don't know if they were going for that, but I took it as that and kind of laughed.
I hope so, because honestly, now that you mention it, and now I like it because when it happened, it bothered me because I was like, don't throw it out, like, because it just sounded cringe. You could just like uppercut, and it's like,
yeah. If that's what they were trying to go for, I'll give it to them. But I'm like, I'm giving you too much now.
It saves the scene, honestly, because I'm just like, because it feels like one of those moments. It feels like one of those moments when you're just smashing the button. And your homie sitting next to you, just being like, "Do the fucking move, dude." Just press it. It felt like one of those. So I guess if they were to explain it as that, then I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. I don't know if there was I don't know if there was like necessarily Easter eggs or like hidden stuff that people missed. I'm really glad, and I hope that they almost kind of saved themselves. I'm glad they didn't say that was the only reptile, or even if that was reptile. They just kind of said it didn't look horrible. I just didn't want them to be like, reptile, come here, and then he gets murdered, and then they're like, never again. I kind of like how they're just like, that's one of the reptilians. Maybe they could be like, oh, reptile is like the leader of that clan or some shit. That was just one of his fucking bitches. I don't know, like,
well, I hope so, because I know, like, what's his name's called them his assassins and shit like that. So it's like, okay, I can understand that. I wish that was I don't know why I'm so triggered about Goro. It just bugs me too.
It could have been better.
That's how I'm hoping, like, reptile. I'm like, could it be just another one? But when he shows up, he's like, "You're one of our like greatest champions." It's like, fucking then why'd you waste it?
Exactly. So, who's real quick before I guess we keep it going? Who's won? Well, I guess we'll save it actually, because it's a good question to kind of after the movie, after we get to ending of the movie to like credits. We kind of already talked about the last fight scene, everything. They go away. Take it away to explain the last scene that, I mean, essentially leads into a sequel if they get
a sequel. So we get that whole monologue by Raiden, which makes me hope that the second one will be tournament style, because he does say there's other champions out there. So
Dane says he's not bringing warriors,
he's bringing an army. Like, which is like, which I'm like, okay, we'll see where they go with that one. Even I just hope the second one really is tournament based, and if there are plans for other movies, you can kind of just go your own separate ways, branch out. The movie did make a ton of money. I think it's the highest grossing rated R movie since the pandemic happened. So
good for them.
It's so there's that little wrinkling where Warner Brothers is going to be
rated R movies and like violent ones like this.
Yeah, we do. It's the stop being cookie cutter and just do what you gotta do, especially for a movie like this. Hopefully more video game franchises are gonna go to the live action realm, see this, and they're like, fuck it, let's just run it. Even if the story is completely shit.
Even if it's like Sonic's gonna go real evil in the sequel.
Knuckles is just gonna go on a bloodbath, and it's gonna be one of those
rip off Tails' head.
It's gonna be the BVS of the Sonic verse. No, but so you see Raiden do the whole monologue. He talks about there's more champions out there. I don't know why Cole takes it upon himself, or now all of a sudden he's fucking Iron Man. He's like, I'm gonna go find them. And it's like, okay, dude. So then part of us is like, part of me is like, okay, so I guess maybe there's still a tournament, even though what's his name saying he's bringing an army. Maybe they'll still take place in some kind of tournament style. You get him back at the MMA gym, which I'm like, didn't anybody notice like the ice over when like, but it's like whatever. Like, past point. Yeah,
a lot of people died in here, man. Like,
yeah, it's like they bring back the guy I told you about that brought up the punch. That like one more dialogue with Cole. Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't need this. And he has that line where it's like, I'm going to Hollywood. And then obviously the mention of Hollywood, like, we know it's coming. Like, you don't have to show it, even though they still do, which bugged me a little bit too, because like they should just say, I'm going to Hollywood. And I would have been like, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. He walks by that poster, which is like super fucking like over the top Johnny Cage. You see him with the Cage belt buckle, which I'm like, I'm cool with that. I want Johnny Cage to be over the top anyways. He should be as cocky as he ever can be. Citizen Cage. And we lead, that's the ending. And like, I'm like, okay, you've got me enough to be like, I want to see what's next. And I want to see who's going to play Johnny Cage. I want to see how they play Johnny Cage. And I want to see what's going to lead up to it, which makes me think if you're bringing Johnny Cage into this, it can't be to fight an army. It has to be tournament. It has to be for that type of thing. You already have the only good guy. Only one good guy died from what we saw and we brought up earlier. So it's like essentially you still have your champions, and if you're finding more, then you're probably gonna have the brackets and all that shit. At least that's what I would hope.
Yeah. Two things of it being Johnny Cage that I'll address. One, that puts nothing against the character, because I've always been a fan of Johnny Cage from all the video games. Puts a lot on that character to be like, are you trying to say he's like the main fucking like that's basically saying like he's like top shit, to where character wise, yeah, that's what he thinks. But they probably could have been like, oh, I'm going to Hollywood in like a different scene, to where someone else says, oh, I'm going to this place to find another one. You know what I mean? Like, only having them mention Johnny Cage to me was just like, oh, fuck, they're really making it like he's the fucking real deal.
Which he's like savior almost and shit. Which I'm like, you know what I would have done though? I would have had Liu Kang be that. That would have been the moment where like I have to go find Liu Kang, and that's like how I'm gonna shoehorn him in. And I would have just had Johnny on this one, honestly, if we're gonna be honest. But they're gonna be the way that they brought it upon, where they're like, you know, you don't even really need the birthmark to get it. You just need to kill somebody that has it.
Yeah, I guess.
You could have seen Johnny Cage kill somebody and had the mark.
That's really fuck. I even forgot about that part. Yeah, that's really stupid. Yeah, you just gotta fucking like, you gotta kill somebody and then you get their tattoo and then now you have powers.
That's how it goes like, in the Mortal Kombat world, man. It's like honestly, it was one of those things. It's just I don't know.
Was Kano's only real power in the video games his laser eye?
I think he had more. I think he had other shit that he could do.
Because that's honestly, I think that was probably one of the parts where maybe nitpicky, I guess, but I'm like, that was stupid that was what he gained from his power. Like, they should have always only had him have that ability when he had the metal eye.
Yeah, and I thought they were leading to that when he got fucking like scratched on. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get it, and never led to that. And they kill him. Sonya kills him off, and then she gets the tattoo, and you're like, man.
And I'm just like, fucking what? Like, the second part that I was gonna address about Johnny Cage, I think essentially what they're doing is trying to give Johnny Cage the biggest like triumphant return, especially since we all know in the originals the sequel is where Johnny Cage is murdered within fucking credits. I don't even think the credits are done rolling and Shao Kahn snaps his neck. So I really think it's them taking it upon themselves to be like, let's really give him this fucking like hurrah.
Big time, you know? Yeah. It has to be a big actor, right? Like I feel like
I hope it's not needs, The Miz.
It can't, okay, look, I keep seeing people, no, it can't. Look, I'm sorry. I get
do a horrible job, but
I think he would. I think he would. I get that that's his like wrestling persona. I understand that. But there's a difference from wrestling persona and going into like a full-on movie. Like, there's a reason why The Rock and Cena are the only ones that really do it well. We've seen other people try to get into the movies in wrestling form, and they've never done it the same way on the level of like The Rock and Cena. It's like The Miz, yeah, it's cool now, but I feel like this movie is lacking like that star power. You know what I mean? Like that one guy where you're just like, they put all the money into it, and that's the name that's going to really get people to be like, not only is it Mortal Kombat, they have this motherfucker in it too. It's like that's a match made in heaven, because this movie really didn't have that big star in it. It's just Mortal Kombat. Now you have the benefit of being Hollywood, Johnny Cage, boom, superstar.
Who's like a fucking who's they're gonna like Robert Downey this shit? Who's like an actor that's not doing that used to do like more or something that you could be like, you know what?
I have one.
I got one too that's probably gonna be more surprising.
Go for it.
Fucking, because he's still not that old. People might argue that.
That's what it's the one.
And it would be a different look, but I would laugh and be like, I think you do it. Fucking James Vanderbeek.
Damn.
Like that. I don't know why he's the first name that came into my mind, but honestly, I think that would be funny enough to where I'm like, that's a name that obviously I don't think he's doing
much.
He's not on Dawson's Creek no more. So, you know, like, I don't know, like that. I think they should go that route. Get someone
he fits
that, like
the role.
Said, is a big name.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so, but who is yours?
All right. Everybody keeps saying, I've seen Reynolds. I've seen people say Cena because he's working hardcore with Warner Brothers. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, we'll see. gonna throw one out there. People are gonna say he's old as well, but I'm like, I don't really care if he's young or old. To be honest, I don't think anybody.
We'll check both ages too. They're probably not even fucking. They're probably 40. Who knows?
But I don't even know how old. Mine's probably kind of, but he's not really because I just saw him a few years ago in a really good movie, Tarantino movie. I'm gonna go with Brad Pitt. I think when he played in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that character, Johnny Cage. I'm like, let Brad.
I could see that. I could see that.
Be the douchebag Brad Pitt and just have him be Johnny Cage and let him fight because we saw him fight in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, it wasn't bad. I was like, he has the physique, he has the look, and it's Brad Pitt.
They got to get Leo then for some reason, just because they're like a package deal now. I could honestly see that, and that's funny because it's like, yeah, you want to get someone that's like that Hollywood like heartthrob look. Mm-hmm. But also maybe change it to where Johnny Cage doesn't have to be like a young guy. He could be like, and again, they already kind of not allude, but they just go immediately to Johnny Cage as an actor that is either widely known or at least known of with posters and shit. Make it that he's almost already a has-been where he used to be great, but now he's in his fucking later years.
Yeah.
And I could see fucking Brad Pitt doing that. Like you said, like, kind of the role similar.
And even that's like nobody's really on this movie other than probably Liu Kang that's like looks real and Cole that look like youngish. Like Sonya doesn't look like she's youngish at all.
Liu Kang looked like he was like a 15-year-old boy. And I was just like, all right, if they like beat the shit out of him, it's gonna be like child abuse and Warner Brothers getting shut down. No, he did a good job. All other than Cole did a good job.
Cool. We were talking about Jackson and shit. It's like my dude was there with his robot arms.
The best part that they missed out on, I think, other than because he kind of fought the guy with his little arms, but I wanted to see him like really try and just be like, and swing a punch and just like barely like hit him.
Well, and he has that fight sequence where the spikes are on like under the bridge thing, which I'm like, I remember that being one of the levels and MMK. And being like, that was kind of cool. And the fatality was kind of, we just fucking squished the head in. I'm like, I dig it.
My complaint on that still for Jax, I guess, the only thing I could say is everybody gets their powers, whatnot. His powers are just like that his robot arms grow bigger.
Turn into cyborg.
Like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, they could have just easily said how Liu Kang was like, oh, they're going to do everything they can. They could have just had the monks give him these crazy robotic arms and then been like, we're like Wakanda, but we're...
Well, yeah, I thought that too. Dude, essentially, I really thought that they were going to give him like the arms right off the bat. I think they're going to give him like the Tin Man arms. And then he was going to like fuse into like the bigger ones. I was just like, what the... I was like, is that his powers? That's the way we're going with? I'm like,
that
I guess
probably,
so.
Other than Kano's eye, that was probably the weakest like power gaining. Sonya like barely even fucking said anything. I was like, that's fine. Like, because I remember that power from her in the video games, but I was just like, oh yeah, that works. It's not like they had her be like, oh, I just channeled my anger and stuff. Like,
Melina was the one that I wish would have survived though. That whole time, I'm like, don't. It's like I'd rather her come back for
which is
round
funny.
2.
Yeah, because it's funny. I'm like not a huge character that like I need around, but in this one. They could have easily, been like, she could have gotten stabbed almost and then had like gone into one of her portals and shit, which I'm like, was that one of her powers? So I don't remember that.
Me neither, but she was transporting like Nightcrawler.
She kept transporting,
I was just like, I mean, there's a lot. Honestly, dude, like I love Mortal Kombat. I'm probably gonna get shit for wearing the Street Fighter shit for during this review, but I've always just been more Street Fighter. And I was even saying right now, I still think Street Fighter had the best of all the movies. I'm gonna go that till my dying grave, dude. I still love that movie.
The new one, the Chun-Li one, because I love fucking.
No. I'm talking about like the
Van Damme.
Damn, yeah. I'm talking about him being in that bitch and that all the greatness of that movie.
The Chun-Li one is so good because Chris Klein just plays a fucking idiot, and you're like, did they give him a script or were they just like, you're dumb?
Act. It was like, just do your thing. Act.
And go out there, Oz.
Like. No, but I still to this day I'm still gonna stand for that Street Fighter movie. I even liked it more than the '95 Mortal Kombat. Till this day, I'm still like, there still hasn't been a movie fight wise that's been like has topped that for me. I don't know why. I just
even with what they did to fucking Blanca in that one, I just feel like they kind of fucked him up.
That was suspect as fuck what they did to Blanca.
Because wasn't it Giles' like brother or something like that? They then said.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen that movie. I haven't seen that movie in fucking years, dude.
They had homeboy from Adam's Family as fucking what's his name? God damn it.
Oh yeah, Gomez.
Yeah,
but rest in peace to the actor. I love that story of the reason he took the role is because his kids were fans of the game and he wanted them to be able to see a movie.
And he was phenomenal in that movie, dude.
He was
great. And he had cancer at the time. He was dying. And he put out like one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. It's like, of course, it wasn't like accurate.
I believe that was his last film. I could be wrong about that. It was. Yeah, I just know. I remember he was dealing with cancer, and he did it for his kids and everything. And yeah, it's like that guy probably thought that was the dumbest fucking film in his life. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's a stupid movie, but it's like it worked.
Fucking God, like, yeah. But goddamn, dude, I gotta watch that film. But then again, I'm like, I don't know if I have to.
Look, but the only problem with that movie is how they portrayed Ryu and Ken. That was my only beef with that because they're like side characters. I'm like, these motherfuckers should be going in there whipping ass.
They both were in the original.
Yeah, it's the movie starts with them, but Van Damme's like the lead. Like,
yeah, that's what's again, dude. Yeah. I remember that now that you say that.
He was the lead in the whole entire thing.
If you would not have mentioned that, I would have been like, oh yeah, and they weren't even in the film, huh? And no one would have corrected me.
No, Ryu and Ken are just showing it. They're captured at one point, and then they're training with oh my God, I can't remember her fucking name or his name. I mean, dude with the blades. Oh, he has the mask. My Street Fighter knowledge is failing me right now.
I was like, yeah, you know, the guy with the knives.
Yeah, with the blades. Fucking the homeboy that like used to like climb the cage and jump off and shit. Fucking blinking out right now.
With the mask?
Yeah.
Vega.
There you go. They're mostly with him, with Ryu and Ken, and then we get the one. He was in that
fucking movie too. Huh?
They all of them were. All of them were. They just shoved them all in there. But the whole point was Van Damme was just like, I'm gonna chew up scenery every time I'm on screen. It's my time.
This is awesome. You're like he didn't even want to change his fucking accent.
He didn't want to change, like TV like America and shit. He's just like, I'm gonna be me. And then you get that epic fight scene with him and Gomez. And it's like, you know what, man? They should have won the Oscar. They should have been nominated for the Oscars tonight. That's what they should have just nominated. They should have nominated all the movies that they never nominated before. Because I'm just like,
this was their chance.
Tonight? Yeah, it's like
they're like nothing was in theaters.
Exactly. Disney won. Disney won everything. Invisible Man won Best Picture. Harley Quinn.
Did it really?
The Prey. No, I don't fucking know.
Oh fuck! I was like, I never.
I think I did, dude.
I think I did see that one, but I was like, this was whatever.
Which one, Birds of Prey or the Invisible Man?
Yeah, I saw that one too. Invisible Man. Invisible Man, I thought was weird. Harley Quinn, I thought was stupid, but
wasn't needed.
It wasn't necessary. You could have just And
then don't kill off the best person in the whole movie, which was Black Mask by Ewan McGregor.
Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan always comes back stronger, but I guess not when you use grenades. But you know,
yeah,
that was bullshit.
That was like 2 months before the pandemic. But that brings us to Disney, which brings us to a little quick review of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If all of you guys were able to watch that, ooh boy, man, let me tell you real quick, man.
No longer, hold on though. No longer, like you just said, no longer Falcon Winter Soldier.
No,
it is Captain America.
Yep,
and Winter Soldier. Holy shit!
Now, when it comes to live action comic book suits, that was one of the best I've seen. It looks so goddamn clean, man. It looks fantastic. The episode itself, I'll get into right now, but everything between that, the new Captain America, and U.S. Agent, as a comic book fan, I couldn't be more happier. They dominated it, and like it again. The episode, sure, it was a little bit rushed. I had higher expectations as a story because all the other episodes were so good. My expectations were like this amazing, but I didn't want that to be the highlight at the end of the day. I wanted to be like a cool little closure. But now that we know that we're getting a new Captain America movie, this whole series now feels like a little bit of a mini series epilogue leading out into the movie that we're gonna get. Because now it's like we're gonna get a full on, Cap movie again. I'm like, okay, fine. Now I can see this series as an epilogue, and I'm fine with that. Well, whereas WandaVision was just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know what this is leading to, but whatever. And then
every episode, you're just like, what the fuck just happened?
And even when it ended, there was still really nothing solved or nothing like discussed. This one, at least, they're like, this is where we're going. Yeah, the last episode's a little bit rushed, but it felt like they were just kind of like, here's the suit. Now announce the movie, and now let's continue on with our merry ways.
They just threw a bunch of suits at everybody, and we're like, fucking enjoy it. And you know what? I did. I like
absolutely.
They had me at obviously. The Cap suit looks fucking great. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that they honestly. It was so few times. Again, as comic book fans, do you really, really get like a perfect fucking suit? That was one of the fucking best suits I've seen in all the films, television, what the fuck ever. Yeah. My highlight, absolutely, you already know, we've talked about it. U.S. agent suit. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. It looked fucking amazing. And that was like the biggest part that really tied into where if people didn't really think or have as much faith in the television shows or like the shows, whatever, compared to the films, I think all that doubt should be gone by now. Because with the costumes, with the story, everything that they've done, and especially, like you said, this show, I have no doubt that from here on out, it's going to be fucking great. Mm-hmm. And obviously so many different kind of like sequel alluding ideas to now Thunderbolts. They've even talked about possibly doing Dark Avengers, which I don't know how the fuck they would do that. But if they went somehow kind of similar to the comic, I would mark out, because I probably was one of the few people that ever picked up one of the early Dark Avenger issues. So I don't know. There's a lot of different ideas that they can kind of go from.
And at this point, who's going to question them? You know, it's like it's Kevin Feige's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do, and it's like it works every single time. Yeah, there's not everything has worked. Like again, WandaVision's whatever, but it's like there's at this point they could do whatever the fuck they want. It's like you want to do Dark Avengers, fucking just do it. If you want to do Thunderbolts, which we should have already found out about. Black Widow would come out
shit. Already. Yeah, the biggest thing with Dark Avengers is the whole possibility of them already saying with the Spider-Man movie coming out that Willem Dafoe may come back and may stick around. Dude. Holy shit. If they then do something where like Oscorp buys fucking I don't know.
Well,
then again,
that's something I had already heard was going to happen, but without Dafoe, like that was already going to be the plan for the Goblin, was for he was going to buy the Stark, like everything, everything. Yeah. And
but the funny thing is, the biggest difference then though would be that they already did the Iron Patriot suit, so they can't start with that. But that's fine. Have him bust out like a green suit for some no reason, and everybody's just like, I don't question this. But they're
just
like,
be the one from like the early 2000s. Fuck it, just come back as Goblin and just wear the fucking suit. Like, I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, like, what if they tried having him first do like an Iron Man suit, kind of like how Dark Avengers. Oh, you mean just have it look like?
Yeah, it's like I mean, just add the little, you know.
What if it's like what if it was like a green and purple one?
Man, that would be
somehow. What if they pass it off somewhat good though? I don't know how they could. It would just look like Barney at that point, I guess. But
that's the thing. The Marvel does like the comic accurate shit, so it's like it wouldn't be insane. Like I mean, we might even see Doc Ock, bless his soul, coming back for this new Spider-Man movie, which is confirmed now. He's like, I am playing Doc Ock in this one. He's like, we might see the comic accurate version of little, that like suit.
Little goggles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, dude, we might get it. It looks like it's the way
that would be
everything's
funny.
Going.
Yeah. That would be weird. That's true. It's just like everything can kind of go in certain different ways now, and I don't know.
I still have questions about Loki, just because I've never been like a true fan of that character and that representation. I know people
he just dies too many times.
It's just hard to care, you know. Like Owen Wilson, bless his soul. I'm probably only gonna watch it because of him. That dude's a legend. Always will be.
Such a weird casting,
but you know what? Yeah. Show needed somebody for me to be like, okay, kind of an even playing field if he's going to be going up against Loki in this sort of way I'm like, okay, it'll kind of be funny just to see Loki and I guess on adventures, because that's what it seems like on all the trailers. It's like follow Loki and he goes here, here, and here and there, and it's like okay,
he fucks up time. And you're like, he's a bad guy though, right?
When it comes to that character, I'm just like, just give me the next Thor movie, just because that shit sounds amazing as of right now. It sounds like they're bringing in the Marvel Hercules into this shit, and I'm like, I'm like, do it.
I mean, with Russell Crowe already, I know that'll be interesting. And again, I'm like, it can go so many different ways. Who the hell knows? I'm still mad about Mortal Kombat.
Zeus, isn't he? Oh, you're still mad about, I think you like the movie.
No, yeah, but I think about like the parts that I'm mad about, and it's just Cole every time.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, like you watched it and you liked it, but I guarantee you, if you simmer on it, you're gonna be like,
this part kind of did suck.
There's just a lot in that movie, dude. A lot of potential. That's what annoys me more, dude. It's the potential that it had. And then I'm like, I know you, Warner Brothers. I know you guys so well, and I know you guys are probably like, cut this out. No, don't want this. 2 hours, 30 minutes is way too long. Tournament, fuck that.
The only thing I've heard that they cut out, at least character-wise, was that they filmed a whole scene with Rain. And I'm like, where the fuck would that scene have made any sense at any time? You know what I mean?
Well, none of this fucking movie really
kind of
made any sense, dude. Mortal Kombat without the tournament and this Cole guy, which you're supposed to like be like, oh, this is his son, the Scorpio, or is it like what?
Yeah,
just like, oh, now he's back.
That would have been so lazy of them just to be like, yeah, somehow this is the kid. I'm like, that was.
Well, dude, like if you're not paying attention, if you're not paying attention, that's kind of the way they like load it up, because he's the only one getting those like flash scenes of like the dude's face, and like Raiden even gives him, and that's the other thing with him, dude. He tells him about his history, about his family, and he's like, Sub-Zero killed them, pretty much. No reaction.
You go. Yeah, pretty much.
But he has like no reaction. Just like he looks at Sub, and it's just like I care more about my family, which I get that, but it's like there's really no point of this. And who knows? But even the next one, I hope they have kind of Liu Kang's revenge, just seeing his homie get killed. You know, with the whole That's where I'm like, we just
he got his soul
sucked him in.
Taken. Yeah. He sucked his soul, bro.
I saw the meme on Twitter already, which I'm just like, that's great. I'm like, that's really good. Especially, I don't remember that line even in the movie, but I'm just like, I saw the meme and I'm like, probably was, and I didn't pay attention to when they actually said it, but you know what? It is what it is, man. But anyways, Falcon Winter Soldier, pretty solid. I'm excited to see what they do next. The suits are fantastically done. I'm trying to think of anything else.
For Mortal Kombat, because we'll end it on that still, because that's the main point. Who is one character, if you had to? Obviously, we already know Johnny Cage is coming.
Brad Pitt.
Who's one character who Brad Pitt and Vanderbeek will fight to the death? And I'll still probably be like, you know what? Brad Pitt probably should take that role. Like, Vanderbeek can play Guile in the next Street Fighter movie. Whenever they make that. Yeah, right.
It's weird that they haven't made it. That's weird.
If Chris Klein can play Guile, then fucking anybody can. If Van Damme can play Guile.
Van Damme can play it. You know, if they'd made, I already see if they made that movie, they would literally give Chris Evans all the money in the world to be like, please play him. Like,
who would play Bison in today's movie? Fucking like Mickey Rourke or something.
Oh my god, who would play Bison?
He doesn't have to wear any makeup for it. They're just like, you already look like a monster.
Al Pacino. Al Pacino's Bison.
He's Bison. He's yelling. That's true.
I mean, that is Bison. It's kind of what's his name did in the '90s version. It was just screaming the whole time.
Isn't Bison Russian?
Yeah, but they never really like.
So they're just like, whatever. We don't care.
Van Damme was American dude the whole time. He had the accent. He was just
an American soldier with.
Didn't he have
worst?
Fucking my god! I think I remember he had the American tattoo on his arm. In that movie, and literally not once do you think he's American. You're just like,
he probably actually got that tattooed in real life for that film. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
He's like, I had to do this. Okay, so fucking Mortal Kombat. Who's one character that you do want in the next movie from the video games? Who was like a favorite that they didn't show?
Actual Goro.
Right? I mean, then again, before we even get into it, weirdly real quick, I remember when Shane Sun's doing his whole last speech being like, oh yeah, my Warriors failed. The only ones that he takes away in like the black smoke are Sub-Zero and Goro.
Oh, I didn't see. I got watch.
So
I didn't even.
I don't know why I caught that. I might be wrong. Maybe he took another one, but I know
he took
Sub-Zero.
Melina. I know that.
Oh well, then maybe she'll come back some way too.
Yeah.
But I noticed Sub-Zero, and that was like the obvious. But I noticed Goro because that's what made me think like, is Goro somehow not dead? But
then fuck it would be Goro coming back. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. What would be your pick? Because I'm falling blanks right now.
I mean, an easy one, fucking Cyrax sector, like the robots. But then again, I guess they change the backstory. It doesn't matter. Other than them, I honestly wasn't ever a huge fan of Ermac, even though like he's all like telekinesis and shit. It's kind of cool, but I would like them to fucking show Quan Chi. I think that would be cool.
That would be dope.
Like I kept thinking still, like I was a little surprised that they didn't have some little after credit scene.
Yeah, I thought they would too. I thought like yeah, the Johnny
Cage
was a taste, but it's like you guys should have left it at least some kind of enemy that's like
my perfect ending credit scene would have been, or after credit scene would have been, already, since you already know Shang Tsung's doing his shit, if he's back on fucking Outrealm, and then they don't even have to show Shao Kahn yet because that's the obvious. But they should.
Well, they showed his statue, which I'm just.
They did, yeah. So that's true.
Which that's probably who I'm looking forward to also to see at some point. Maybe not the second one. But
I think they should.
The third one.
I think if they were gonna fucking bring Quan Chi already, or maybe if they still do, they should just have it be like Shang Tsung talking to somebody, and then Quan Chi like there, and do like almost like a weirdly like the video game Deadly Alliance where they teamed up. I think they should like fast track and do something like that. Like that.
What they need to do is do it like the video games and bring in Spawn and RoboCop.
Well, obviously, and then Terminator, and then you get the whole trifecta. Leatherface shows up.
All right, to give it a score.
All right, so we're going out of 10.
Yeah.
So we're basing this off of everything: story, violence, the whole film.
Everything, yeah. In the realm, I guess, of Mortal Kombat. As Mortal Kombat fans, I guess we'll put it at that point. I want to review it like a fucking like the most other reviewers were like, this wasn't an Oscar-worthy performance, and this should have been a better script, because it's like I wasn't looking for that. I don't think a lot of the general audience was looking for some insane storyline, script, performance by these actors. I think they just want to see guys fight and kill each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So out of that,
you go first.
Look, man, what it reminded me of a lot? This movie reminded me a lot of the Power Ranger movie. Okay. It really did. So I did enjoy the Power Ranger movie as a kid. I don't know if I would enjoy it now because I haven't seen it in such a goddamn long time. As a kid, I loved it. I'm gonna go at a 5. I think it's a 5 out of 10 for me. I'm average. There's a lot of shit I hate, a lot of stuff I like, some stuff that I love, some stuff that I loathe. But there's that 5 for me is like it's in the middle, and there's a potential for more that I'm actually interested in seeing. Because if I would have been lower to 5, I would have been like, I don't want to see anything else from this. I do. You got my interest enough to be like, I'll be there for the second one. When the trailer drops, I'll watch the shit out of it. When the movie drops, the second one, HBO Max or theaters, I'll be whichever one. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Not bad.
Yeah,
you're fair.
I gave Wonder Woman lower. I think I gave that one a 4.
Well, that deserves lower. Yeah. Mine's not, honestly. Mine's very, very similar. Pretty much like every point that you kind of made. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yeah.
Barely. Why it gets a 6 though? 2 reasons. Main reason, the violence. I think they finally gave me, as like a video game fan of Mortal Kombat, that over the top gore that this fucking film needs. You can't do a Mortal Kombat movie without over the top, just violent. I don't care if anybody argues. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's what the 95 movie was severely lacking.
Exactly. It was fucking no. So that's why it gets a 6. Mainly, one big thing tie into it. It reminded me a lot, especially of the violence aspect of Punisher Warzone. When that movie came out, I remember watching that in theaters. That movie is fucking amazing if you want to read a comic book of the Punisher and be like, whoa, he kills everybody. And then go see an actual movie of the Punisher killing everybody. I love the first, sorry, not the Dolph fucking version. I love the fucking Thomas Jane version. I love Warzone and I love the TV show. But Warzone did not have a great story to follow. And I think I've always said, I think they kind of knew that, but we're just like, yeah, but he murders everybody in such cool ways.
Which one was it which Punisher was it that Kevin Nash was in?
The Thomas Jane one.
Okay.
That was a great one. Like I said, but with that one, they tugged more on like the heartstrings of like, this is a sad story.
They told you the story.
Yeah. Warzone did not really do. They told you what happened. You still were just like, yeah, but he's gonna fucking kill people. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Mortal Kombat tried making more of. They definitely tried getting more story points across, but the violence of it, I dug the fuck out of. And like you said, I think it leaves it up to a little to a lot of improvement for most likely a sequel. And like you said, I'll watch it, no problem. Depending on how that sequel really does, they can get a third out of it. It just, that might be the nail. You know what I mean? Like, then it might be like, okay, now there's no way you're getting another one.
Yeah.
In the way movies are nowadays, that's why I'm like, no doubt. And I think I'll safely say deserves a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
See how the sequel goes, then do a fucking, maybe direct a fucking Netflix movie, you know, like,
yeah, because that's my thing. Like, don't make a sequel and then branch off and make all these like side projects and then lose focus on the whole thing and then make 4. Like when he said 4, I'm like, 4, god damn, bro, let's get through 1, bro. And then it's like, now that we got through 1, it's like, okay, let's see what you got for number 2. And then if you don't improve from there, maybe just kind of, you know, situate it. And I think that's another thing too. Like, I hope other video games are like, fucking, we'll just stay to what people actually like the games. You know, like, this is what they like. Let's do that. And that could honestly save your movie. Because if let's just say they didn't have the gore, my god, this movie would have been a train wreck, man.
Oh, it'd been awful. If like the fatalities were like dumbed down, I would have been like, turn it off.
And bro, that's another thing too. Like, if they want Suicide Squad to be successful, take notes. Like, it's the same goddamn. Just like, take notes, dude. Have them be over aggressive. Like, we live in a time where, come on, like we could see that. You know,
pretty much.
Where it's passe to be like, oh, it's too grungy or gory or it's like too bloody. It's like, no, dude, you see that shit on the news every single day. Like, we're past.
Yeah, like,
people
just don't watch the fucking film then. Everybody's an adult. I don't give a shit. I want to watch violence.
Yeah. Like, so when it comes to Mortal Kombat, I think, like we said in closing, sequel, we're there. Definitely needs to improve some aspects. Johnny Cage is going to be a big one for me. If it's the Miz, I'm gonna be like, you're already off to a rocky fucking start, man. I'm like, it's not looking good. I need a legit start. Even if it's Cena, I think I'd be like, let's see, John. Like, let's see what you can do. You wouldn't give it a chance at all, but John.
I mean, I would possibly give it a chance, but I think that's not necessarily just trying to think of the word. Not like obvious choice, but it's just like, that's what I'm like, nah, like, give it anybody else, I think I would just look at it as like, really? That was the only choice? Like, was he the only one that showed up for auditions? Like, did you post flyers? Like, what the fuck? Like,
that's the thing, dude. It's just like he has this contract now with Warner Brothers where it's like he gets which I'm just like,
gets whatever he wants now.
He's pulling a Dwayne. You know, like, just we see Dwayne play the same character every fucking movie. It's gonna come to the point where we're gonna see John play the same John in every single movie, and we'll see that in Suicide Squad. But anyways, all right, man. Mortal Kombat 2021. It's been almost way over 20 years to get to this point. I don't acknowledge the other Mortal Kombat movies, just the 85, that 95 one. Whatever. What was the other one? It starts with an A.
Annihilation.
That was a trip.
Yeah, dude.
It could always be worse. It could always be Annihilation. This one wasn't. It was Mortal Kombat without the tournament, but whatever. It is what it is. You learn from your mistakes, and if there's a gradual step-by-step process and we get to the tournament, then hey, maybe all this bitching and complaining was maybe worth it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode. I think we had some wrestling questions, but we'll do that for another day. I know there's a lot of wrestling shit going on. Oh, but one before I messed up. Gold Coast Federation, subject to change, is now available. It's officially live. If you're listening to us on Spotify, go follow Gold Coast Federation and all their social media platforms. If you're watching us or maybe listen to us on YouTube, I don't know how this whole thing's going to work out yet. If it's for sure up, it's either audio or visual on YouTube. The links are going to be in the description. You can go watch Gold Coast Federation, subject to change. Only $8 to purchase this and watch the link. I guarantee you it's more worth your money than watching whatever the fuck Impact put on tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys later on. It is your boy Hollywood Holguin. Thank you so much once again, Rossi Montgomery, for joining me on this podcast. We will be back very soon. Brother, why don't you sign off for us so we can say goodnight?
Well, once again, always a good time to be here. Thanks again. And yeah, there's always a next time. We'll always review
Absolutely.
more. And anybody and everybody listening along, thanks. And we'll catch you next time.